I hope you hear this as good news when I tell you that you're not alone in this.
That is good to hear because I think that's one of the problems. I mean, we're sitting here alone, so we feel really alone, and you don't realize how much, you know, how do I replace human touch and interaction? Because I can be online with somebody, but it's not the same. It's just not the same, and I think it's wearing on all of us. And I'm in that sort of group, the older group that's really not supposed to get this virus. And I mean, is it worth all this anxiety and loneliness? How
Right.
bad is it?
And you're really, you felt like you had grieved the loss of your husband, but now that you have all this time to do a deeper dive into your soul and your psyche, you're wondering if you really did grieve completely because this is coming back to haunt you some, right?
Yeah. He passed away about 2.5 years ago, and it was very sudden and very unexpected. And I think things just moved so fast then. And then you get involved in life and you think you're supposed to be over it. But then something like this happens and you realize that you don't have your partner. And I think you start to go through that process all over again.
Sure. And you say you're afraid, and I'm quoting you here, of becoming the quote crazy lady at the end of the cul-de-sac in her pajamas all day watching Dr. Phil. Uh, and
Well,
there are worse fates.
there are worse fates. The thing is, I don't know about other people, but when, at some point you just have to hear voices, and
Right.
you actually have you're on a station that plays reruns for like hours at a time. And I have you on in the background so I can hear voices. But yeah, I mean, I find myself getting up, not getting dressed, sitting in my pajamas, trying to remember when I took a shower last, and that's not who I wanna be.
Well, let's talk about this because you have identified some important warning signs, and you've asked a very real question, and that is, how do I replace the human touch and interaction? And one of the answers to that is realize first off, this is time limited here. I mean, truly it is. We know this isn't a life sentence here. We know we're going to come out the other end. And you've recognized some of the warning signs in that your mood has become very labile. It's changeable, and you recognize that. You're
Mm,
finding yourself really getting deep into your thoughts, crying sometimes for no reason, feeling very lonely, questioning the value of what you do. Does it
yeah,
really matter? It's kind of the existential crisis of, is there any, what's the point? Am I really
right.
making a difference here? And these are some of the things that people get into when they start experiencing depression. And you're in what I like to refer to as a social recession right now, because you're being separated from everyone else, and we do tend to regress sometimes, because if somebody would have said a year ago, would you be sitting around in your pajamas not being able to remember when you showered last, you would have thought, no, not me, no way. I want to tell you that we're going to restart this for you, and you can do it right where you are. And
Okay.
some of the things that I want to go into some detail with you about is, what's the first thing that you need to do when you feel like you have no direction and no purpose? Is, let's get back to what we did when we felt like we did have purpose, we did have meaning. When your life felt vital, you got up every day, you took a shower, you got dressed, you had a to-do list, you had projects, right?
Yes.
And so you've stopped doing that now. So common sense tells us we need to get back to what works for you in your life. And I'm going to tell you, as strange as it may seem, I want you to get up every day, take a shower, put on your makeup, do your hair, get dressed, just like you were going to do when you had to be at the university, when you had to go do things.